Sergio, there we go. I took my ex of 4 years for granted and broke up with her. She got into a rebound 3 months later and wouldn't take me back. It's been 5 months. I don't know if she's still with him because she's never posted. Hmm. Never posted anything on social with him. Still has all my pictures up, views my stories, and has never blocked me. I've gone 2 months of no contact. Should I reach out to see if she's still with him? I would try to find out in another way. I wouldn't reach out and ask if she's still with him. I would try to be a little bit of a social detective because you might be able to find some things there, even though you said she's not posting. There's still probably some clues there. If you have mutual friends, be careful. But sometimes you can ask them. But I'm telling you, be extremely careful. And if they're better friends with her than you, do not risk it because they will tell her you asked about her. So one thing I would say to do, even if friends that you feel like they're your friends, but they also knew her, is you can just say something like, how's she doing? Is she doing good? I hope she's doing good. See what
Yes.
they say, because a lot of times they'll tell you if they know. They'll say, "Oh yeah, and her and that guy aren't together anymore." So that's a smooth way to do it. Don't be direct unless you have to be. Don't say, "Is she still with that guy?" But usually if they're probably, my guess is there's a social media account she might not be telling you about, but I don't know that. Could not be. But I can tell you that the fact that she's got pictures of you up is a terrific sign because if she was in a serious relationship with a guy, he's gonna tell her to take them down. Like, what is this? That's or at least to start posting pictures of her with him. So there's some kind of something going on here. The earth is moving under your shoes a little bit. I just don't know. I don't know exactly what's happening. You just need to try to avoid reaching out to her to get the answer if you think she's with him. It doesn't. It would be odd if she was.
Well, you said it was 4 years of taking her for granted, so it's not good that that happened. But it's a good sign that if she was in a relationship that was uneven, where she's being taken for granted, but it took 4 years for her to get out of it. So that can kind of give you a strong indication that maybe she's a slow decision maker. She might not move as quickly as you. Opposites tend to attract, so you might be more of a bold decision maker, somebody who does things quickly. So 2 months to you might feel like a long time. But remember, if it took her 4 years to get out of the relationship, then it's not surprising that it might take her longer than 2 months to start to really realize that maybe it's worth reinvesting or worth considering going back. It doesn't mean it's hopeless. It's just that when you're in pain for 2 months, it feels like an eternity.
So the main question you asked though was, you've gone 2 months with no contact. What should you do now? You really have to know if she's in a serious relationship with him because with a guy because it's just very unlikely that it's going to be a good thing if you reach out while she's with somebody else. Because for example, what if they're on a date and you text her? He's like, "Who's that?" Then she's got to almost try to go overboard convincing this guy she doesn't want to be with you. She wants to be with him or whatever, or that it's over. And you don't want her saying those words. And it could even be that, it makes you look bad and pathetic if she's on a date with him or something and you're the ex-boyfriend reaching out while she's out with him. It can really kind of feed his strength and attraction. So you don't want to do that. So try to find out about that if you can. And you may not be able to. I don't know. I'm just telling you you need to know that before you reach out. If she's not with him, then standard no contact protocol would apply. And 2.5 months or so, especially if she's been clear of him that long, you start reaching out to casually set up a get together and you take it very slowly and you start over like you're dating her from day one.
Yeah.
All right. Trevor says he was with his ex for 2 years. Day after Valentine's, she ended things. He chased her the next 2 weeks, learned she's with her ex of 2 years before me. Was I the rebound and do I have a chance to get her back? So you were with her for 2 years. Okay, and then she ended things and you chased, but turns out she's with a guy that she was 2 years before you. Now, I don't know if that means right before you two started the relationship because you said you two were together for 2 years, but it's possible you could be a type of relationship and she still just had something intense for this guy and she puts him up on this pedestal to levels where if he becomes available and she knows there's some interest back, that she feels like she can't resist it. And she, of course, she's gonna try to get that back. That's in her mind, that can be what she's thinking. So I don't know if rebound's the right word, um, but you basically could be sort of this middleman for someone who's addicted to relationships. And by that, I don't mean that relationships are bad, but I'm saying if you were someone that she just thought could maybe fill this place, and maybe eventually you would be the one, and then it hadn't quite happened, and she saw this opening to be back with the guy she really wanted to be with anyway, unfortunately, then that's a possibility. But at the same time, you actually have some advantage being more recent, because if she gets back with this guy, and I don't know, do you give a time on how long they've been together? You said you chased the next 2 weeks. So I don't know how long it's been, but assuming you stop chasing and now you should leave her alone and give her this, if this is what she wants, then your odds are not terrible, because she can be with this guy, and it can, especially if she thought, wow, here's my opportunity. I'm going to go be with this guy. This is the one I wanted. This is the person of my dreams. That's hard to live up to. And we're talking about, this was years ago. And if it's not what she thought it was going to be, and with those high expectations, there's got to be some letdown. That can be the point where she starts thinking about you. But the real question is, if she left you for someone, that's what I don't know from your question. I don't know if this was where she left you for him. That's a big issue, and that might be something to talk about with Ken on a coaching call. But if she left you, then you don't need to do anything. I'm sorry. If she left you for him, then you don't need to do anything. But if she left you and then she met him, or found out he was single and they kind of got together, that's a little bit different. That's where some of the standard protocol applies. But if she is serious with someone, by the way, I just want to clarify, if she's serious with someone, I don't suggest you reach out. So don't think, oh, well, it's been 2.5 months, so Coach Lee says I should reach out. If she's with someone in a relationship with him, no, you don't reach out, because first of all, it makes you look weak because she's in a relationship with someone and you're reaching out. So it puts him in the position of power. It also can make her think, wow, even though I'm with somebody else and broke up with him, he still wants to be with me. You don't want her to be assured of that. She might suspect it a little bit, but you don't want her to be sure of it. So that's where in a lot of my videos, I do talk about the mystery and all that kind of stuff. But this is different, and you are going to have to decide how long you want to wait for her. I don't suggest you wait that long. 4 or 5 months is kind of the max. I tell people 3 months, go ahead and start dating again, especially if they have somebody else. Go ahead and start, at least go have dinner with people. It doesn't have to be a serious date, but just get the machinery working again. And, the future is open. We'll see what happens. But whether or not you're the rebound doesn't really matter. What matters is right now she's with somebody who she has a history with. And you're going to see if her being without you makes her think that you were the one she really wanted to be with. And then you need to be really careful and skeptical, because there's a lot of red flags around what she did.
You've said this before, and I've seen this in one of your videos. We've talked about it. A lot of times you can actually throw a nice little hand grenade into the limerence of another relationship by not chasing. Whereas if you chase, it's like, well, now this person has their ego being fed by the new person and by the old person chasing. So it tends to make them feel really good. People tend not to move when they're having their ego fed from two sources. But if you unplug and walk away, it's kind of like sabotaging that limerence a lot of times.